Hello guys, welcome back to another video, and as you can see from the title, well, it's about height. Well, before I get into the specifics, I have to also address the COPE online, which is nutrition. Yes, nutrition does help you with your height, but it will only bring you to your maximum potential for your height that is given to you by your parents, which is your genetics. But if you're Vietnamese or if you're just cursed with short height or below average height, nutrition will basically be COPE. And if you're betting your bets on, oh, if I were to just eat eggs, get proper nutrition, blah, 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 eat this diet, I could be 6'2". No, you can't. Sorry, I just have to, give that harsh, brutal truth out there. But does that mean that you can never grow taller above your genetic limit? Of course not. Yes, you can grow taller, and that's why I made this video. I would also like to quickly address the COPE on IGF-1 signaling with sugar. Well, if you were to consume a lot of sugar into your body to spike insulin, the insulin spike will be negligible for your growth. So that's really it. There's three main ways to grow taller, three mechanisms. The first way is banded sleeping. The second way is HGH and IGF-1. And the third one, sadly, is leg lengthening surgery through the process of distraction osteogenesis. So, that may sound like a lot, but I shall be here to help you guys and dissect all three concepts. Alright, so banded sleeping. So the logic behind banded sleeping is that, well, if you were to put constant pressure on a bone, it's going to adapt and move with it. And if you think about it, let's just say, for example, rubber bands for your teeth. If you have mandibular recession, so if your jaw is more like, or retrognathia, whatever you call it, you could go to the dentist and get rubber bands with braces so that can pull your mandible forward. And so this is your maxilla, this is your mandible. It will move your mandible forward. And using the same logic with these rubber bands for your teeth, well, you use it on your legs. So you get your legs longer by having constant pressure for pulling it apart. So your bones grow more longer. And to speed up this process just a slight bit, well, you bone smash your shins. So, well, molecularly, they will become more malleable from the microfractures. So, I guess that works, but I don't know how much it amplifies the speed of how much it works, but it definitely, in theory, would work. But also banded sleeping, in theory, would work also. So that's banded sleeping. If it works on your jaw, why can't it not work on your legs? So there's someone online that does banded sleeping. I'll put his YouTube channel right here so you could see. So let me further elaborate on banded sleeping, because it just seems that I didn't elaborate on it enough. But for banded sleeping, what you have to do is to use bands, of course, it's in the name, and you have to use towels or any type of fabric to put it under your armpits on both sides. Have a BDSM looking contraption, which will make your girlfriend be very intimidated of how freaky you are, but it's okay. It's all for the looks maxing, okay? This is all for her, okay? But besides that point, you don't want to have your blood being constrained, restricted by the band. So of course you put this under your arm, so there's proper cushioning and the lack of blood restriction. And you just set anchoring points on your bed while you're sleeping, and of course you're sleeping up and it's pulling you up. And you also have ankle bands that will also pull you down. You could adjust the weight with many different bands, and the contraption only costs around $100 to $200. So you just need to work a job in America for 2 days, and any other country just work for a week or 2 weeks. Remember, this is all for your looks. So who cares how much money you spend? Some people spend up to $100,000 on leg lengthening surgery. So hey, this is just a experimental budget that won't really hurt you that much. unless if you actually do very extreme forces, which will actually put a lot of damage onto your ligaments in your knees. So let's try not to do that. But again, do this at your own risk. Right now I'm 6 feet, clavicular is like 6'2", so he height mugs me. Dave Lade's also here. Androgenic 6'5" or 6'6", so he's gonna be around here. So, but yeah, I'm a fairly tall dude. I have an average frame, but I want to send my frame and my height a little bit with HGH, and that's if my growth plates are open. And that brings us to our second mechanism, HGH. So with our growth plates, if your growth plates are open, well, you could actually have the potential to grow taller above your genetic limit. Think about it as this. Your pituitary gland secretes human growth hormone. So it will transfer into your liver, and then your liver will create IGF-1, which is the actual compound or chemical that will lengthen your bones. It will stimulate your epiphyseal plates to grow more linearly, or just, it will grow longer. So of course, that IGF-1 will stimulate your epiphyseal plates to have more cartilage proliferation, and that is one of the steps of endochondral ossification, which will make your bones lengthen. So, but again, that's if your growth plates are still open. But your growth plates per bone will vary. Around your legs, it varies around 16 to 21. For your clavicles epiphyseal plates or growth plates will close as late as when you're 25. So if you're 18, you still have a chance to grow your frame, even if your legs are fully closed. The potential is sealed. So, but this isn't about frame, this is about height. But check to see if your epiphyseal plates are still open in your legs. Doctors will do this scan on your fingers, but your fingers' epiphyseal plates close close at a different time compared towards the epiphyseal plates in your legs. So they're sort of letting your hopes down without actually scanning your fucking legs, which is stupid, but hey, it is the medical industry. But besides that point, HGH, it's 4 to 6 units per day. And to inject, you have to do sub-Q injections, and you could split dose it, but you could do it in one dose, which is before sleep, without any food. And also you have to limit your carbohydrate intake because you do not want to have hyperglycemia and speed run your chances of getting prediabetes or type 2 diabetes. Now, besides that point, what do you actually use to inject? Well, you use insulin needles, and yeah, that's really it. That's for height maxing, and that's if your epiphyseal plates are open. Now, on to the next mechanism. Also, another thing I would like to say is that for HGH, another thing about the logic behind it is that if you have such dogshit genetics where your pituitary gland says that you have to secrete only a very small amount of HGH for all of your life, and there is minimal amounts of growth spikes and growth spurts, well, you're kind of fucked. So with HGH, instead of having an automatic HGH secretion from your pituitary gland, which is determined by your genetics, well, you inject your own. You inject your own. That's really it. If you have such dogshit genetics where it's going to predetermine how much HGH you secrete out, why not you inject your own HGH to make yourself taller? So that's the logic behind it too. Also, I would like to elaborate on how the medical industry says, oh well, if you were to inject HGH at a younger age, well, you're not going to be as tall as your genetic height. Sorry, they say that you will never be above your genetic height even with HGH, which is completely false. Well, I'd say that's fucking bullshit because, well, first of all, if they were to not lie to you and say that it works, well, guess what? Everybody's gonna get taller because everybody's gonna go on HGH. And now you see that they want to gatekeep this method. Another counter argument is that, well, there's a guy in the past, he was a dwarf, but his pituitary got fucked and he secreted a super physiological amount of HGH to the point where he grew up to like 7 feet. I could bring up the video right now. which I'll show up right
The
here.
human body can be insane sometimes. This is Adam Rayner. He was born in 1899, and although he initially seemed to just be a normal kid, as he grew older, he didn't get much taller. And with a 4'10" cutoff for dwarfism, Adam, who was only 4'8", soon became considered a dwarf. One day in his early 20s, Adam just suddenly began growing like crazy. By the time he was 32, he was already 7'2", with no signs of slowing down. It would later be discovered that Adam had developed a tumor on his pituitary gland, which regulates the production of growth hormones. Adam passed away at age 51 at 7'8", the only person in history to ever be both a dwarf and a giant.
So, as you can see, well, it is very safe to say that most people back in the day couldn't go above 6'2" or 6'5", but this guy went above that, so it's pretty safe to say that the HGH that was uncontrollably secreted by his pituitary was the cause. And that just shows you that if your epiphyseal plates or your growth plates are still open, well, you still do have a chance to grow taller from injecting exogenous HGH. So, quick notice, it just seems that I'm doing this sound a lot, so I'm sorry, please bear with it, my mouth is dry. Leg lengthening surgery with distraction osteogenesis. So this can set you back $20,000 to $100,000 depending on where you're getting this surgery. It's basically a surgery, but it's not really a surgery at the same time because it's not plastic surgery, but it is a surgery. So some people say, oh, is it a plastic surgery or no? Like, it's more of a surgery where they implant mechanisms in your bones where it will slowly spread the bone apart. But of course, they have to first break the bone in half or saw the bone in half, and they will slowly distract the bone apart. They will do this daily, and new bone will form right in between it. So basically, with distraction osteogenesis through leg lengthening surgery, what it does is that they implement mechanisms in your legs where they break your leg apart, and they will have machines or a mechanism to pull your bones apart or distract. And your bone will form new bone in between the missing area, and then you'll pull it apart again. And as you can see, I call this bone edging. You're literally edging your bones. You're like, oh my gosh, we're about to close together, but no. It's just constant edging. You're edging your bones. But yeah, also another thing I would like to mention is that all these three mechanisms are just brief summaries. I have to go make a detailed video on each and every one of them, tailored to your specific needs. If your epiphyseal plates are closed, well, you need those two other options. Well, if your epiphyseal plates are open, well, you need those three. So I have to go elaborate on each and every one of them in a very detailed manner, so there will be less mishaps. But again, do this at your own risk. Also, if you haven't really noticed that, I'm gonna be speedrunning videos now, so if I were to miss any information, sorry, but I'm going to upload videos after videos after videos after videos because, well, I just started college and it's kind of like syllabus week, so only until week 5 or 6 where, well, homework's gonna me in the ass. So before that happens, I'm gonna create as much videos as possible to get my message across before I am sort of impeded by my homework. So, but again, there are people and YouTubers out there that are very extraordinary with their time management, and I will soon be the same way. But for this instance, I have to take this chance of more free time to make more videos for you guys. So yeah. Also, another thing, a quick rundown on my body and my face for right now. Also, a neat trick is that you can neck fraud, which is, well, like look at my neck right now, it's kind of thin, but you could tilt your neck back in pictures to make your neck seem a little thicker. Like look, I look more jacked because I have a thicker neck right now, but in actuality my neck isn't really that thick. But I'll soon have a thicker neck because I'll be training my neck. I'm just very inconsistent with my neck training, but I'll be training my neck more and you'll see me being a giga neckmogger. Also, if you guys don't know, I am injured as fuck. I have 14 different injuries and physical impediments, so my ascension journey will actually be more impressive than others because I'm starting below average in terms of well, bodily stats. Back then when I was 16, I was around 210 pounds of muscle. Now I'm 180 pounds. I'll be ranting about my injuries soon in another video, but stay tuned for that video too. I have a lot of video ideas right now. I would also like to quickly mention that this video will be under the category of physicality, which is for looks maxing in the 4 major stats, which is in the 4 major stats of the physical, mental, emotional, and financial stats. Also, I would like to address one more thing, is that people say, oh my gosh, this is a cheek biting classic. Bro, look at me. I'm speaking. I'm not biting down on my cheeks. Like, look how hollow they are. If I were to actually be biting on my cheeks, this is how it looks like. I look like an alien. So yeah, that's me quickly addressing the cheek biting claim. But yeah, I guess that really is it for height maxing. So yeah, I addressed the cope. I named the 3 different mechanisms that you can use to grow taller. And yeah, I think that's really it. Thank you guys for watching. Peace out.